Hello and welcome to a sunny day here in San Diego, California on the campus of UC San Diego for an SLC matchup between the Tritons of University of California at San Diego and the Titans of Cal State Fullerton. We're going to send it down to Margo McCauley with Coach Mann.
I wouldn't say redemption, but Cal State Fullerton's, they're always the cream of the Division II in the SLC, so they're always the measuring stick that we need to reach if we want to achieve anything in this conference.
Both teams undefeated coming into today's game. What do you have to do both offensively and defensively to maybe give them their first loss and keep your team undefeated?
Well, you know that Cal State Fullerton is going to play like a top 10 team in the nation like they are. We just need to step up our game. We need to execute like they execute. We need to hustle like they hustle, and we just need to not make mistakes.
All right, Coach, we'll see you at halftime.
Thanks.
Back to you, Chris.
And there you have it, Coach Mann talking about execution. This Cal State Fullerton team scoring at a pretty incredible clip right now at just over 21 goals a game, having the top 5 scorers in the SLC all on their team has been a big deal for them. I mean, that's one of those things you can go out and score 25, 26, 27 goals more than once in a season. It's a pretty impressive run. I think this will be one of the first real tests at the Division II level for Cal State Fullerton. Haven't had a whole lot of competition to say. They're at the point where they've got 149 goals for and only 27 against. So playing well on both sides of the ball, but again, looking for some competition as they've been playing some teams that maybe aren't at the same level. And I think that Coach Mann hit the nail on the head here when he was talking about this team being kind of the cream of the crop in the SLC Division II. And right now we're going to send it back down to Margo, who's with Coach Ansel.
All right, Coach, your team ended SD's season last year in the SLC playoffs, so you know they're going to come out on fire. What do you have to say to your team to get them ready to match that intensity off the opening whistle?
Kind of the same stuff we said last year, especially during playoffs. UCSD always plays really hard. Albert does a great job with them. As long as, we play our game, we should be good. Last
weekend, I know you lost a big player, Braden Goebel. He is out for today's game. Who do you need to step up and play big today to fill in for his shoes?
We're going to move a couple guys around to go down to attack that are usually playing midfield. Today I'm hoping, number 22, Alex Simpson, he's a freshman, can kind of step in and make some things happen.
All right, good luck, Coach. We'll see you at halftime. You heard that here, a couple young guys needing to step up and fill in for the injuries that they have over here. So we'll report to you throughout the game, Chris.
Yeah, and that's a good point. I mean, I think you lose more than some scoring ability. And some solid short stick defense when you lose Goebel. I mean, you lose a real leader for this team. I mean, he's one of those guys that's kind of seen the ups and downs of this program, struggling a little bit over the last couple seasons, but seeming to really have hit their stride again this year, at least scoring wise. And it's important to have those kind of guys who remember what it's like to lose a couple games and don't take for granted the fact that these victories don't just come because the other team gives up. I mean, you've got to go out there and play hard. And a couple of players to watch here is, especially on the Cal State Fullerton side of the ball, you've got Micah Willis, freshman, and he's putting in just a shade under 9 points a game, which is pretty incredible. And it's one of those things. That's one of those things that is really, really tough to do. And like I said, I mean, it's hard to say. I don't know that much about these teams that they've been playing, but the margin of victory has been pretty big, and it gives them an opportunity. But a pretty balanced attack as he's got 33 points and 33 goals, 26 assists coming in, putting him at 59 points, followed closely by Alex Kowalski. Another one of those players, a sophomore, who has a lot of ability. He's a big kid. Seen him coming through the midfield and playing on attack. But right now we're going to be joined by SLC President Matt Holman.
Hey, Chris. Welcome, everyone.
Yeah, and got a pretty solid matchup. I'm excited to be down here. Field I played on in my college days to see a little bit of a resurgent Tritons team coming out here and try and get a victory.
Yeah, I talked to Coach Mann this week, and he's a little upset or just frustrated. They've got exam week because they're on the quarter system here. So he's missing 3 players that are actually taking math exams at this moment. And as we all know, UCSD is a pretty heavy academic load, so that's unfortunate timing for them. But I think this will be a good game, equally matched teams in the SLC Division II.
One, Coach Mann would like to regain some of the prominence that this program once had, even at the Division I levels, with players like McCall and Nick Dean, teams that routinely made the tournament at the Division I level, opting to drop down to Division II a few seasons ago, but finally kind of starting to hit their stride at this level.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. I have not seen Fullerton play in 2 years, unfortunately, just with the timing of things. So I'm excited. And in general, I'm excited about all our games in the SLC. This Game of the Week production will be broadcast each Sunday night by 6 p.m. Pacific time. We'll have these games up and running, and guys and the families be able to watch the entire broadcast.
Yeah, and that's something I'm excited about as well. Having the opportunity to see all these games and to come in and see all these young guys playing club lacrosse. Obviously, something that I'm passionate about, and you are as well. It's it's a great league, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, we invite anyone that's interested to look me up at Holman, HOLMAN @mcla.us. You can send me an email if you're interested in sponsoring any of these games. We've got a great schedule. It goes through our playoffs, some live action all covering our playoffs, and we'll have a couple of live broadcasts in season as we go through the year. But we're always looking for a sponsor. I'm not afraid to sell that. And I would like to thank TVX Video right now, you, Chris Marshall, and Margot McCauley for coming out and being our expert staff here each weekend. I know it's a lot of time on your part, and I appreciate the effort that you guys give and TVX Video gives us every week.
Yeah, definitely, and we've been working with Ted and TVX Video for quite some time. It's really top notch. Great guy, great production. But back to some of the players to watch for San Diego. I mean, you got to be on the lookout for Brian Tran on attack, as well as David Mastro in the midfield, and Hunter Hirsch. I mean, those are the top three guys. Hunter Hirsch is a guy who's been contributing since his freshman year. Takes a lot of the face-offs. He's one of those guys that can really go out and make an individual effort. And the same goes for Brian Tran. I mean, he's got 21 points on the season, a real even distribution at 11 goals, 10 assists. And he's another one of those guys who I've seen make some pretty spectacular individual plays, and another one of those guys who doesn't give up. I remember last season I was able to see these guys play against Concordia at a neutral site, and Brian Tran went out there. I mean, he was a player who left the field, took a little bit of a knock, and then came back out and made a couple really spectacular individual effort plays. And it's nice to see guys who are near the top of the scoring sheet, and that's how they get there, making those great individual effort goals, especially when that game had gotten sort of out of hand in terms of the score. But don't go anywhere. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back in time for the game time. Hello and welcome back to La Jolla, California, on the campus of UC San Diego for the SLC matchup between the home Tritons of UC San Diego and the visiting Titans of Cal State Fullerton. This is a rivalry over the past few seasons that has been dominated by Cal State Fullerton holding a 7-1 advantage. So you see the ball come down, and Fullerton having a fantastic season this season with 149 goals for, averaging 21.3 goals per game. 2 games so far where they've dropped 27. Pretty impressive. Beat UCI 27-1, which is a real beatdown. See Fullerton going back out on the offense. Look for them to go run and gun. And running the 10-man ride appears to have worked out for San Diego. And looks like it's going to be staying with Fullerton as the ball was tipped by the goalie, Simon. Fullerton going into their offense. Look for them to go to the cage quickly and often. And they've got the 5 top scorers at the Division II level in the SLC so far this season, including the top scorer in goals, assists, points, and points per game in Michael Willis. And Michael Willis wearing that 12 jersey out on the outside. Looking to get their first look inside. Kowalski can't get his hands free. There's the shot, big save by Simon. San Diego looks like they got the ground ball, and they're on the way back the other direction as David Mastro has it. Nice look through. So he's going to be able to handle it. And there's the shot. Big save coming the other direction from Lorino. It's been back and forth so far. That one a little too tall. And the ball's going to go back to the Tritons. San Diego bringing it in. De Leon. Real athletic deep hole for the Tritons. His juniors played in all 5 games so far this season. San Diego works back into their offense. Miller. Now Chan. Nice look inside. Quick double. Ball's out. And going back the other direction. Matsumoto trying to get his hands free. Great flip pass back to Thielen as the captain slows it down for the Titans. Now down to Chris Cole, the senior, back after taking a season off. Back to Thielen and over to Kowalski. Kowalski very dangerous on the dodge. To switch that out of his left hand. Kowalski wide open. Willis holding on to it. Cole. See them sending guys through the middle, trying to get that matchup as the poles are back up top. Got to be careful on those checks. Right in the back of Willis. Throw a couple more of those, you're likely to get a slash. San Diego doing a really good job making sure the poles are on the matchups they want, as Chris Cole looking to dodge from behind. Turns the corner, trying to get somebody free. Great handle. No time to get the shot off. That high-pressure defense from San Diego has been very successful thus far. Looks like Cole likes his matchup again. Trying to turn the corner, looking for that cutter. Finds his man Kowalski with the great handle and the finish. Nice look from Cole as he gets it to Kowalski. Kowalski able to dig that one up and get up top and beat Simon. No chance for the goalie on that one, as the score is now 1-0 in favor of Cal State Fullerton. And it looked like that was the look that Fullerton wanted. They really clogged up the crease, sent 5 guys in there, all cutting, setting picks for each other, and were able to get Kowalski's hands free, and no problem for Kowalski as he's able to handle that one and bury it. Now for the face-off. Jerko Hilaire out for San Diego. And he's able to win the face-off. But win the clamp, but Cal State Fullerton's going to come up with the face-off win. And that's Alex Simpson. Cole by his man. Nice look cross crease. There's Willis, takes the shot. And just barely sneaks that one by. Simon did very well to get a stick on that one. Off out of his stick and into the goal as Willis gets his first of the day. And that puts the score to 2-0. And this is not the kind of game that San Diego wants to get into. I mean, you have to think a shootout is going to go the way of Fullerton. And Fullerton's shown that they're not afraid to run the score up. And as we've seen their margin of victory, playing St. Mary's to open the season, had a 21-5 victory. Then Long Beach 27-3, Santa Cruz 22-2, Channel Islands 26-4, again UCI 27-1. Finally got a couple of games against Fort Lewis 14-7, and Northern Arizona 12-5. But losing their captain Gabel in that last game to what they think is a torn ACL. And an errant pass from San Diego, and that's not what they need to happen. Fullerton very dangerous in the break. Kowalski thinks about it. Nice look inside, and that one looked like it might have gotten tipped, and it's going to stay with Fullerton. Looked like he had a lane to shoot that himself, but makes the pass. Now Simpson And back over to Kowalski. San Diego still in that high-pressure defense, playing really tight on the adjacents, forcing them to send the ball so that they have to dodge against the pole. As Simpson get it, he's got a matchup, real size advantage. Nice look inside, and there's another goal by Purpura. And the scoring distribution has been very even so far. 3 goals, 3 players for Cal State Fullerton, and they're out to a 3-0 lead. That's Purpura's 24th goal on the season, puts him at 34 points on the year, averaging just under 5 points a game. Really impressive. Looks like Coach Mann wants to talk it over. I mean, this is what we talked about pregame. This Cal State Fullerton team is a run and gun team. I mean, they want to go out there and score 20 goals, like I mentioned, 21.3 average on the season, and they want to run this score up. They're not a team that's going to hold on to the ball for a long time. I have to imagine they haven't gotten a single timer on this season, but they're a team that wants to go out there and go to cage, and they've got the guys who can do it, and it's a real matchup problem for UC San Diego when you've got so many guys who can score. I mean, you've got Kowalski, you got Chris Cole, you got Michael Willis, and Purpura, and those last 3 all on the board. It looks like we're going to send it to Margot with some inside information.
All right, guys, right there, I was listening in to the San Diego huddle, and Coach Mann said, guys, this is exactly what we talked about in practice yesterday. This is exactly what we didn't want to happen. He called his defense over and said, guys, take a break, take a breather. There's still just under 10 minutes left to go. It's very early in this game. Let's slow everything down, get control of the game, and let's start playing our lacrosse.
And that's what you got to do in that situation. I mean, this is not the team you want to spot 3 goals to in the first 5 minutes of the first quarter. I mean, this is the type of team that can really score a lot of goals. You have to think that Coach Mann have to think about potentially going into a zone. As he's not, the defense really isn't giving Andrew Simon a whole lot of a chance to make any of these saves. As you see the goals come in tight, they're getting cutters. 2 of the goals were right on the doorstep, and the one that was 5-6 yards out from Willis, he got a stick on. So I mean, I think maybe if you're San Diego, you want to pack it in and force the shooters to take the shots from outside by dropping into a zone. There's Hilaire able to win the clamp once again, and San Diego gets their first face-off win of the day. Simon, dangerous pass. Nearly paid off. Hilaire can't run it down. Ryan Carroll comes up with the ground ball, but he loses it. And then didn't get low on that one, as Fullerton looks like they've got a line on it. 2 white shirts there. Picked up by Kaufman. And there's the shot from outside. That one looked like it might have caught the pipe. Like Mastro may have had a couple of, he just had 1 to beat. Looks like he may have had a little bit more room to get in tighter for that shot, but trying to make something happen. Be one of our first real looks at this San Diego offense. And both these teams are undefeated on the season. San Diego coming in at 5-0, and Fullerton coming in at 7-0. So these teams have had some pretty good early season success. Way to hang the stick and get by his man. Takes the shot, but that one just off the mark as Patrick Zhang creates some space for himself. Now Hirsch with it. Hirsch kind of the rare face-off attackman combo. And the defense from Fullerton really doing a good job. As that one stays in, looks like it's going to be, and there's going to be a no call on the push. As you see 3 white shirts over there, Fullerton unable to get the ground ball. It's staying with the Tritons. Dangerous pass. And there's the shot in the goal 5 hole by Will Mailer. And that cuts the lead down to 2. As San Diego had a pretty solid possession. They were able to get a couple of decent looks and finally squeeze one in 5-hole. And for Loreno, that's a tough goal to give up. I mean, it's just like we saw on the other side of the field with Simon. You get your stick on it, and it still gets through. But just making that extra pass if you're San Diego and able to get a shot off and get back on the board here. So a wise timeout by Coach Mann.
Get in there, 40. Don't let them play games. Lean in here.
See some of the new face-off rules here.
Slap them on the knee.
And another clamp win for the Tritons. Having a little trouble with the ground ball. Finally picked up. He's got a lane. Thinks about the shot, and that one just off the far post. As Christopher Leem doing a real nice job on the wing for San Diego. It's a nice check. Fortunate to keep that one in his stick. It's Tran. Tran, another one of the crafty attackmen. Chan with it now. Back to Tran. Both these teams playing high-pressure defense. Zhang. Zhang by his man. Cuts back. Fullerton not giving a whole lot on the shot here. And that one off the pipe. As Mastro able to get by his man. Stays in. San Diego with another ground ball win. Mastro likes his matchup. Nice look inside. Can't find his man. As Bennington couldn't get on the end of that one. But it was a good look. Draw the double. Try and make the touch pass on the inside. You get a second slide, and you might catch one square in the chin. But open in that instance. And what a handle going the other direction by Simpson. Nice look inside, and that 10-man ride not paying off that time as Papura scores his second of the game to push the lead back to 3 at 4-1. And the 10-man ride, one of those things that's it's high risk, high reward. You pull the goalie out of the cage to stay with one of the attackmen. You know, the smart attackman will take him as far away from the goal as you possibly can in case that ride fails. And that's one of those instances where we saw the ride fail. They make two quick passes, get it all the way down the field to Papura, and he's able to finish on the empty net.
Good crack on the knees. Gone.
Came back down for the face-off. San Diego's had some pretty good success on the clamp, but unable to corral some of these ground balls. Slayer again on the clamp, but finally gets a ground ball, fighting through the double team and showing some of his wheels off. That's a great individual effort from Hilaire. Another face-off win for San Diego. Brian Tran feeling out the defense. Got a real solid back and forth move. Digs his feet in, cuts back. Nice change of direction. Chan now going against Silverberg. And halfway through this first quarter of action. Under 6 minutes to play. Now Hirsch moves it up to Tran. Just lost that one. Ground ball going the other direction. He's able to get by. There's three there, and nobody able to lay the hit, as it looked like they had a lot of space open, but Willis able to get it, and it looked like Chan had a line on him and opted just not to hit him. But either way, Fullerton with the clear. And going back into their offense, they've been playing a lot of defense over the last 5 minutes. Maybe a little longer possession for the Titans as they give their defense a chance to rest up a little bit. Swing it around once. Back to Willis. Simpson and back over to Papura. Papura more than halfway to his 3.5 goal average. Cole still has the pole. Nice check. And it's De Leon again. Doesn't want the switch as Simpson tries to get the pick. De Leon way out on Cole. Cole takes the shot. That one just misses on the bounce. You hear the call, trying to get Mike out of there. It looks like San Diego's dropped into a zone. Had their shorties on the wings. Fullerton taking their longest possession of the game so far. Finally going into a little bit of a motion so that they've got a wheel going. And that one picked off and going the other direction. Great anticipation play by Carpenter. Carpenter sends it up. Here's Zhang. Zhang rolls off his man, has the line to the goal, takes the shot. Big save by Loreno. And that one going the other direction. As Southerberg gets a stick full of sand on the way back the other direction. Looks like we're going to get a flag going against Cal State Fullerton. Going to be a 30-second technical for interference. And this is going to be our first opportunity to see the extra man unit for either of these squads. This is a big opportunity for San Diego to cut the lead back down to 2 and 4-1. Nice look inside. Can't quite come up with it. Looks like that one is going to make its way all the way out of bounds. There's going to be the over and back call. And now one of the new rules to speed up the game is once it's on the offensive side of the field and it goes back onto the defensive side of the field, unless it is tipped, it is a turnover. And that's the rule change from a year ago. Last season when that happened, if the offensive team was able to get it back onto the offensive side of the field, it would be an automatic timer on situation where you would get 30 seconds in which to get a shot on the cage, or it would be a turnover. And Fullerton is now back up to full strength. Kowalski. It's Willis. Willis thinks about it, back to Kowalski. Rolls back to that left hand. Looks like he might have gotten one a little high. Is that one on the bounce? But Fullerton able to run it down as Chris Cole picks it up. And you can hear the coaches from the sideline, Fullerton telling them to move it faster. Kowalski by his man takes the shot. That one just off the mark, but it's going to be another possession shot for Fullerton. Willis chases it down. Staying in that zone. One thing you hear Coach Mann telling his defenders to pass off the player as he's coming by. They'll get into that wheel offense. They'll start getting the rotation going, throw the skip pass, and then they'll have somebody wide open for the shot on the back door. Look for that one to start coming back the other direction. See the rotation coming down. Cole opting not to move towards it. Cole with it now. Sweep. Nice switch. And that's a great defensive play. Now it's going back the other direction for San Diego. Can't quite get the ball going as Cornejo now finally picks it up. So, nice move inside. Can't find his man as Hunter Hirsch unable to corral that one and get that one on the cage. But a solid effort as we are now down to the final 10 seconds of the quarter. And that's going to do it for the first quarter of action. We've got a 4-1 advantage for Cal State Fullerton as they show why they've been able to score so many goals this season. But after a quick flurry of 3 goals in the first 5 minutes of this game, San Diego able to settle down and really get some offensive possession as well as some defense going. So definitely stay tuned. We got 3 more great quarters of action coming your way, and we'll be right back with some inside information.
Okay, guys, before the game, I got a chance to talk with Coach Ansel. He said that he really wanted his team to come out strong in this game. He said in the past couple games this season, they've been ending strong, but they've been a little shaky at the start. Right now, at the break, I heard him say he's proud of his team. They're up 4-1 right now, and they definitely got off on the right foot. But he's not ready to step off the gas. He wants more goals, so keep a close eye on Micah Willis. He's just a freshman, but he's leading the SLC Division II in points, assists, points per game, pretty much every statistic across the board except for saves. So keep an eye on him in the second quarter.
Thanks, Margot, and I couldn't agree with Coach Ansel more there. I mean, his team came out firing, and they were going on all cylinders, able to get 3 goals in the first 5 minutes. I think the real difference in the last 10 minutes of that quarter was San Diego switching into that zone and not giving Fullerton an opportunity to work the offense in the way that they want, and making them shoot from outside. And so they're only able to get 1 goal in the final 10 minutes of that quarter, and it was in transition once they beat the 10-man ride, 2 quick passes. And it's tough to make that call to go into that 10-man ride when it's not coming out of a settled situation. It's something that's really challenging to do if you're in transition. I mean, if you're coming out of a dead ball, the other team wins the shot or something like that, I feel like it maybe makes more sense. But and there's another clamp and face-off win for San Diego. But Zhang doesn't look like he's going to be able to run this one down as the ball is thrown out of bounds by Hilaire. And that's one thing you have to think Coach Mann is talking to his boys about. Just cutting down the unforced errors. There's a nice check. Able to knock the ball out. And again, it's Kowalski able to get it, and they're going to get an offsides here as Hirsch now wisely goes back onto the offensive side of the field, and it's going to be a 30-second penalty going against San Diego as Hirsch stepped just over the line.
Yeah, Chris, I just joined you back here, and I actually was walking right by that, and it looked like he did step over, but he also had a man in transition, so I'll have to talk to number 46 about that after the game.
Yeah, it was pretty close. I mean, it's
bang, bang.
You're in transition. It's a bang bang play. I mean, he sees the attackman step across. The instinct obviously is to throw the flag, but like you said, still in transition may have been a little bit of a tight call there.
Yeah.
But this is going to be our first look at Cal State Fullerton's man-up offense. You have to think the shooters here, Chris Cole, as well as Kowalski on the corners. Look for both of them, as well as Willis creeping up from behind.
Not a lot of movement yet out of Fullerton. They're just looking to capitalize on their big gun shooters there. Number 20.
Yeah, it's Kowalski takes the big lefty rip.
Usually at this point you see some cuts going down, coming down toward the goal.
Kowalski gets inside, past his man, takes the shot. No question about that one for his second of the day. So cool under pressure. But Kowalski, I mean, like you said, there was not a whole lot of movement on the offensive side of the field, but they didn't really need it as Kowalski was able to get the ball. I think they were expecting the big shot, and defenseman coming out full steam. He just sidesteps his defenseman. A little hitch move, and then he's inside, and there's nothing you're going to be able to do about that from that close if you're Andrew Simon.
Yeah, I think Coach Ansel has his headset on, and he's listening to us because He showed me up right there. But yeah, they didn't do a lot of cutting. I think they're just relying on their basic skills, athletic ability, and a simple face dodge and get himself freed up in the middle there.
And there's another face-off win for San Diego. San Diego's been dominating at the face-off X, but haven't really been able to turn it in to much possession. We're right around the 13-minute mark in this quarter. It's Kaufman. Now Mastro, the leading scorer for San Diego as he moves it.
Looks like UCSD has finally settled down a little bit. They definitely appeared to be rushed in that first period. Maybe they were just trying to match the quickness of Fullerton, but they need to settle down and play their own game, and theirs is a more settled pace.
And Fullerton's just just running hard at the ground balls right now. You see, there was a perfect opportunity for man ball for San Diego, and they just couldn't get to it. I mean, at this point, it just sort of looks like Fullerton wants it more.
Yeah, they really are playing at a quicker pace and with more aggression.
And I mean, this is one of those games. You get a team that's going out there scoring 20+ goals a game. It's not the team that you want to get into a shootout with. I mean, if you're San Diego, you have to think that you want to slow the game down and force them to stay in yours. And what a save by Simon. Gets a stick, then a foot, and able to dive on it before it rolls in. And then nice cut by Mastro as he's able to get by Simpson.
That was a really great save.
Yeah.
Quite an athletic goalie so far for UCSD here.
Mastro spending a lot of time on the field, gets to his left. Nice look inside, tries to get the shot off, can't quite finish it as he was thinking goal before he had that one fully in his stick. But now the ball up to Kowalski.
Looks like Fullerton caught UCSD subbing here. Oh.
And that's something we talked about earlier. I mean, it's one thing I don't get is I understand them going into the 10-man ride, but it's so hard to get into in transition.
Right.
And it seems like they're going into it every time. As you see the shot, another save by Simon. But they're going into it every time, and Simon is coming out of the cage to mark somebody, and the ball is just too quick from Fullerton. They're getting it across, and then he's having to drop in, and it puts them out of position defensively.
Right. It looks like the coaching staff at UCSD came into this with that 10-man ride, definitely using it each time, as you just said. But I think the surprise factor has gone out of it, and Fullerton's made its adjustments.
Chris Cole all by himself makes the pass across. Looked like he might have been able to beat that man himself. De Leon picks up the ground ball. And again, we talked about him. He's very athletic. Probably the best pole for San Diego.
Yeah, without a doubt, he's their strongest pole.
And he's been drawing the matchups when they've been in that man-to-man, against Willis and against Cole, two of the more athletic players for Cal State Fullerton.
Nice for UCSD to get a decent shot on goal, even a goal out of this possession here.
Yeah, down just 4 goals, still a lot of time to play, but only able to muster 1 goal so far. And their team that isn't really struggling offensively, averaging close to 13 goals a game on the season so far, and their 5 victories, 0 losses. So this is definitely a little behind the curve for what they expect to do out there offensively. But it hasn't been for lack of opportunities. It's the execution that has been hurting San Diego. Unforced errors and unable to capitalize on the shot once they've created the opportunities for themselves. And more great defensive play out of Fullerton. Mastro able to pick it up, trying to get by his man, draws the flag, and able to still hold on to the ball. Nice look. Wow. There's a great catch by Hirsch, and the ball inside. And again, they're getting the opportunities to take the shots and unable to finish those shots. As these guys look like they got a little bit of the case of the yips.
Yeah, it almost appears like UCSD had the long car ride in traffic. I talked to Coach Ansel before the game, as we get a slash call here. It's a 1-minute penalty on Fullerton, but he was a bit frustrated on their ride down. As you know, Chris, driving down from the LA region, it's a beautiful weekend here in San Diego, and a normal hour to hour and a half ride can take up to 3 hours on a day like this. So I thought Fullerton would come out with a little more cobwebs, and it almost appears like UCSD had the long trip.
Yeah, and we're going to get the penalty here at the 9:40 mark in the first half. But I mean, that's the sort of thing that makes a difference, especially for some of these teams that at the club level, the club Division II level, where you might be driving yourself rather than riding in a bus and being able to watch some film, and that sort of thing can really weigh on a team. When you're coming individually, 2 or 3 guys in a car.
Yeah. I never liked. Years ago when I coached here at UCSD, we still shuttled by car. But when we got to SDSU, when I was there the last few years, we took a bus, and it made all the difference in the world. It's just your peace of mind as a coach, being responsible for young men once you leave campus. It really is nerve-wracking knowing that you've got 6 to 8 cars driving down the freeway. With 18 to 22-year-olds in charge.
Yeah, I know. The only time I ever got a speeding ticket was on a team trip to Florida, and we're going to send it back out to Margot, who was listening in with San Diego.
All right, guys, listening in there to the San Diego huddle, and their coach said in this man-up situation, they're going to go for a 2-3-3. They're going to move the ball around, and if Fullerton does rotate, they're going to look for the slips and try to get a goal right here since they got the man up, and they really need to get on the board a couple more points before the half.
Thanks, Margot. And there you have it. I mean, Coach Mann wants to. He knows they need to score goals, and he knows that they're fortunate to only be down 4 at this point, as Fullerton well behind their average for the season.
Yeah, that's good strategy. This guy with the horn right next to us is beautiful. But yeah, UCSD needs it. They need a goal here just to keep themselves mentally in this game. You've got a young team. Coach Mann is always seems to have a young team here at UCSD. Again, going back to their academic load, and a lot of these players have started playing sometimes even when they get to campus here, maybe a year or 2 at high school. So you get behind when you've always been ahead most of the year. They've had one close game, but most of their games they've been ahead, as you mentioned before. So if they can get one here, I think it'll keep them into this game a little better. Yeah,
3-goal margin, in the sport of lacrosse is nothing. And it's one of those things where, especially with the dominance that San Diego has had at the face-off X, if they can get a couple of quick ones, couple of decent possessions, get some of that confidence back, might be able to fight the hips off.
Yeah, that's it's another one. That's probably our 3rd scoring pass that we've seen get dropped or bobbled or missed today, and that's right there. That's 3 potential goals to keep this game tight.
Yeah, and again, you see the one of the very few teams out there that'll play man up with a long pole.
Right.
As De Leon up there, and Simpson has some space, gets the ball into his other hand, takes the shot, and that one just off the mark. But a great opportunity for the shorthanded goal for Fullerton, and that's why they're so dangerous. I mean, they're not afraid to go to the cage under any circumstances. I mean, that at some point where your coach might want you to slow it down, wait off the rest of this penalty, but Simpson had a line and he went for it.
It looks like Coach Ansel's giving them the green light whenever they have it or need to go to the goal. So it's an exciting brand of ball. At least they're playing.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. Once I think the real, big season matchup for these teams is the Concordia game. I think that's probably Fullerton's biggest rival in league. Some of the best SLC Division II games I've ever seen. And I think that's one that both of those teams have circled towards the end of the schedule. That one's not until April 4th, but that one should be a real great game.
Yeah, and we also have today, and I'd be remiss to not mention the Cal State San Marcos team is up against Concordia, both undefeated. Both are ranked nationally, and we really tried to cover both of these games today, and we just don't have the manpower. So that game's started at 2 p.m. as well, so we're expecting a good tight score out of that one as well. So we've got some real contenders in this SLC Division II this year, and it's nice to see some parity, and it's nice to see 4 to 6. There's probably 4 to 6 equal teams right now.
Yeah, and that's always exciting, and it's tough. I mean, this is a SLC Division II that many around here think has been getting a little bit of the short stick in the at-large bid game the last few seasons, and there's a shot in the goal, and that's just what San Diego needed. As Mailer goes on the sweep, takes that righty shot as he changes the plane, and that cuts the lead back down to 3. But there were a couple of teams, especially a couple seasons ago, when you had Chris and Cameron Cole playing for this Fullerton team. That was a very good team that missed out on the tournament in the selection process after losing in the SLC championship, and many people thought that they were one of the top teams in the nation. So, I mean, it's an opportunity for the SLC, especially at the Division II level, to show that they belong in the national picture.
Yeah, and some what came out of that, and with our meetings, and I'll talk as an administrator now, with our meetings as coaches at the end of the year, you know, we try to remind them as leaders, we remind them that it's not only what you do in the league, although that does matter,
right,
but you've got to have a national footprint. And I think what's been missing for some of our D2s is getting those nationally recognized games in against out-of-conference opponents. All the schedules this year you can see are loaded with out-of-conference opponents. They've done a much better job of not only scheduling those games, but actually winning them.
Yeah, very, very strong showing in Arizona this past weekend. I mean, just across the board, both of these teams have been playing very well.
Yeah. That San Marcos victory over Fort Lewis in Division II here was real key for them nationally. And next year, I know already that Concordia and Fullerton have asked me as the administrator of the Coaches versus Cancer event to they're spearheading and bringing in some Division II teams, and some of our Midwestern friends, the St. Thomases of the world and the Grand Valley States, are heavily interested in coming out and joining us for that event. To be able to get out in the field in the sunshine in early March would be key for them, as we see a goal there by number 12.
That's Willis again with his second goal of the afternoon, as he's well on his way to his 5-goal average. But again, that's transition. You see, San Diego here in the footsteps a little bit, moving the ball up the field and unable to find anybody. As that high pressure ride coming from Fullerton really pays off as they're able to get the unsettled goal. Yeah. But back to the Coaches versus Cancer. I mean, that's a fantastic event. Just this past weekend in Arizona, we had 8 of the top 9 ranked teams at the Division I level, and I mean, I think it's the premier in-season tournament. I mean, I don't think you're going to go anywhere and see more top-level games in a single weekend than that tournament. And it would be great to see, some of the top Division II teams come out as well.
Yeah, that's really what I'm hoping for as the administrator of that event. And I don't want to say it's the best, and I appreciate your comments because you were out there all weekend. But I do feel like those teams really, really get a benefit out of it. It's a real good gut check. All the coaches seem to just love playing against heavy competition early in the year. And I think as a coach, it really helps you coach your kids during practice, because now you have a measuring stick, you have a barometer, you've played, one of the top 10 teams in the country, if not 2 of the teams during that weekend, and you can go back home this week and really get down to nitty-gritty, get your league play set up, and get a good push for the national championships.
Well, and especially for some of these club teams, I mean, making the trip from the East Coast or Colorado to California is a big expense, and if you can come out and get 3 games in 4 days against all top 25 competition, that's a huge advantage for your team. So you're not having to make an additional trip out to California during the season, which
right.
Will cost you twice as much money.
Right, and what Chris is mentioning, folks, is that in any team that's considered for a national championship at Division I, they need to play 3 out-of-conference games, and those games, as you just alluded to, even with Division II, you can't just play 3 out-of-conference teams that aren't ranked. You've got to find decent teams that are leading their conference in their region to play against, and it's a lot easier for our SLC teams to gather teams' interest to come west, but it's real easy if you meet in that central point. This year it was Phoenix. Hopefully it'll be Phoenix next year, and you can get 2 to 3 games in over 3 to 4 days and satisfy that requirement and really get a good benefit by playing that heavy competition, as you mentioned.
As we see Cal State Fullerton settling back into their offense a little bit, had an opportunity right on at the beginning of that offensive set where Chris Cole took it off the inside pipe. There's another big shot by Willis. That one goes out of bounds. Possession shot. But again, Fullerton just going right to the cage.
I don't know that you could even say their foot's on the gas. I think it's glued to the pedal.
Yeah, I mean, that's their team. I mean, you can't take any possessions off if you're going to score 21 goals a game.
Yeah.
You got to go out there every possession, try and take 3 or 4 shots. I mean, you basically have to score, almost every possession.
Right. And that, as we just saw a good save there with that over and back rule. The player kept the ball in the offensive half. He carried himself into the defense without possession, stepped back over. That's why there was no call there. That ball never left the offensive half of the field as we get a timeout here by Fullerton.
Yeah, we're at the 3:49 mark in the first half, and we've got a 4-goal game. I mean, this is a very competitive game. I don't think the score is necessarily a fair representation of how well San Diego is playing.
Right.
I mean, after those first 3 goals that they spotted Fullerton in the first 5 minutes, things have really evened out. And I think that's a testament to the coaching coming from the sideline for Coach Mann, switching the defense up, telling his guys to settle down after they made that timeout, because they've only allowed 3 goals and they've scored 2. So I mean, if you're just looking at the game in that sense, then it's been very, very close.
Yeah, and I think it was Margot that reported from that huddle that Coach Mann was imploring his guys just to settle down and play ball. And as we mentioned earlier, we've seen 3 or 4 those scoring pass opportunities that got tipped, and I see Margot's ready with a report here from Fullerton, so we'll go down to her.
Right there, I got to listen into the Fullerton huddle, and Coach Ansel said, guys, there's 3:49 on this clock. He pulled his offense over, kind of drew up a play with them, and said what we really need to do is spread out the ball, play the ball, move the ball, keep the ball moving, and don't just force the shot when you see it. Wait for it to be open and get a good look, and that's when we take the shot, and that's when we capitalize on scoring some more goals.
And again, it's just goals coming from Coach Ansel. I mean, that's what he wants, and I mean that's something that you can. Sorry, a little bit of a technical difficulty there. Didn't miss much as we had two throwaways in a row. First day, actually a procedure call for too many men on the field going against San Diego, followed directly by an errant pass by Fullerton as they got the ball back. That's a great save by Loreno on the other side. And almost didn't get there.
I really was questioning that. I stood here with my mouth open why the 2 UCSD guys jogged to the sideline.
I think that's been a little bit of a problem for them on the ground balls and chasing the balls out. It's there isn't the same amount of effort coming from both these teams, and I mean I think it's coming out in the score sheet.
Yeah, that might be what Coach Mann was mentioning about exam week. We talked earlier, and he said, you remember how exam week went. And I had coached here. It's been 20 years since I've been here, but I can tell you the exam week was hellacious because it's in the middle of your season, and these kids are just the academic loads they have to bear are crazy. So maybe we're seeing some study cobwebs here.
As we're just under a minute to play. See there. Looking for the ISO.
Looks like a high
Brian
1-4
Tran.
set. Sorry, Chris. Looks like a high 1-4 set. Now they go into some cutter action in front, into a 2-2.
Again, they want the Tran wants the isolation. He's got the shorty here. I mean, they're going to have to make something happen. It's down under 30 seconds to play.
I think Coach Mann would like to see him make one move and go to the goal. And he still got it.
And what a great quick stick goal. Gets the ball across, and a finish by Hunter Hirsch. Tran takes a pretty good hit on that one, but after all of the fakes there on the backside, fake swim, finally able to make something happen.
He got some dancing points on that one, I'll say.
Takes the hit, able to get it to Hirsch. Hirsch buries the quick stick, cuts the lead to 3. That's a big momentum goal going into the half right at the end of the second quarter. Right, there was 3.9 seconds left. Huge goal.
3.9. Can you say clamp?
Yeah, right. I mean, there isn't a whole lot of time. I mean, it's from my vast experience taking faceoffs. You need about 6 seconds to get a goal.
The fastest recorded goal is 6 seconds off faceoff. So there you have it.
There you have it, and that's going to do it for the first half of action here. Pretty tight game. You got a 6-3 lead for the visiting Titans of Cal State Fullerton. But the Tritons right there. Again, those 3 goals that they gave Fullerton at the beginning of the game are definitely coming back to haunt them at this point.
Yeah, you're the home team, and you spotted your visitors a few goals there in the beginning. So we're going to see if Margot can catch up with Coach Ansel here. And in the meantime, let everyone know that we'll be coming to you each week now with an SLC Game of the Week. And that most of them will be ready to go Sunday afternoon.
But yeah, no, definitely be on the lookout for more great content coming your way. We're going to send it over to Margot with Coach Ansel.
All right, Coach, your side dominated most of that first half. How did you feel overall about your team's performance?
We did well. Albert puts a lot of stuff in, makes you change stuff right and left. So we just got to be able to catch and pass. It's we're getting a lot of looks. Just being able to finish them is going to be able to, let us hopefully break away from this close game. So
some injuries have plagued your team. It's hot out here. You've got comparatively a little bit of a smaller roster. Will fatigue play any part in the second half?
Hopefully not. I mean, we got to keep our guys fresh, just keep them moving, get us subs as much as we can. But, it is hot, so just got to keep watering them and just, keep going.
All right, good luck in the second.
Thank you.
Back to you, Chris.
Thanks, Margot. And you hear Coach Ansel talking about it. And you can hear some of the wind in a little bit of a plateau here. Get a lot of wind coming through, and that might be playing a little bit of an issue for both of these squads, as we've seen unforced errors on both sides of the ball. But don't go anywhere. We got a great second half of action coming your way in the SLC game. And welcome back. We're going to send it out to Margot McCauley with head coach Mann.
All right, Coach, you had more defensive success since you switched to the zone in the beginning of that first half. What do you do going forward, and what led you to make that change?
They got athletes all over the field, and we have to find a way to stop them. Right now, they're a little bit faster than us, so we had to switch the zone to compensate for that.
Offensively, you guys missed a couple good looks. How do you capitalize on those in the second and get yourself back into this game?
Let's find the net.
Simple answer right there, guys. You heard it here. It's hot. We're going to let him get back to his team. Thanks, Coach. We'll see you guys in the second half.
All right, well, there you have it. Got some regular rocket science. The balls that hit the net count as goals. And going to go back into that second half. Again, we saw them have some pretty good opportunities on the offensive side, just unable to capitalize on those last couple of shots. It's one where you get in tight, your eyes get a little big, and you just can't quite finish those last ones. And you got to chalk some of that up to the high pressure defense that Fullerton's playing.
Yeah, I agree, Chris. We've mentioned it's almost beating a dead horse at this point, but they've got to look the ball into their sticks. Go back to your fundamentals. You've got that scoring pass coming your way, and it'd also help if the person making that pass puts a little zip on that ball. But we need to get it to, if I'm Coach Mann, I'm letting the guys know, get it to that scorer in a hurry on his stick, and then the scorer look it in, and then just take your steps and take the shot.
Well, and that's one of those other things too. I mean, you have to think that from time to time, if you're going to make that play and you're going to go out on the crease, you're going to get hit. And it seems like some of these players don't want to get hit.
Yeah. Well, we don't want to say they're hearing footsteps, but they're hearing footsteps.
And again, we've just got a 6-3 advantage for Cal State Fullerton. I think is really great coaching call by Coach Mann going into that zone. I mean, they're all even since then in over 25 minutes at 3-3. It's really neutralized the matchup problems that Fullerton was showing. I mean, like you said, they're a team that isn't very deep, but all 6 of the players on offense can hurt you individually.
Yeah, and something else, it just occurred to me, going to that zone, it's going to force Fullerton to have to run on offense more. You're going to have off-ball movement, as we all know, in any zone situation. If they're going to stand around like they did that toward the end of the second there, that plays into UCSD's favor, by slowing the game down to their pace, having quality possessions on D, coming up with a stop, and now they just need to convert these almost goals on offense. As you see, UCSD player here finally winning that move and the ball.
Yeah, and that's something we've talked about. San Diego being able to do is win those faceoffs, and they've had a lot of success winning the faceoffs. It's just finishing the plays that they haven't been able to do. And you have to think that one of the reasons why we're not seeing. Oh, and there's a great check and a great handle by Kowalski as he goes up and gets that one, and now heads back the other direction. So he's dangerous in transition, opts to pull it out, going to the slow break, and pulls it all the way out as they drop back into their offense.
I'm going to say the ocean breeze is picked up here at UCSD, and it's actually a Santa Ana wind blowing in from the east.
Yeah,
so
just
it's coming opposite our usual direction, and it's causing a little havoc out here with the mics, obviously. And we just saw an umbrella blow into the field.
And we're looking at close to 90 degrees, and having that hot air is not helping these guys at all, especially Cal State Fullerton. It was a very small team. Nice look inside, and there's great collapse defense. You see San Diego unable to come up with that ground ball as Willis has it. Willis looks like he has some room, pulls it back out. But like you mentioned, Fullerton can't afford to really go hard into their offense because they do only have 6 field players suited up on the sideline.
Right.
They can't sell out on every play. They need to rely on their cutters rather than their dodging and instead of going into the full offense.
And part of that zone, I got to imagine in practice they're preaching that bend but don't break concept, and that's a great example of that play before where you had 2 or 3 white shirts collapse on the cutter and come up, and they just didn't come up with a loose ball. But if you write up a zone, that's exactly what you want to happen. Everybody play in their areas, and when it is a situation where you're going to have a potential score, the ball gets collapsed on hard and it's loose.
And there's solid play for Mailer as he has Willis, and Willis with 2 goals on the day. As Cole comes up top, and you see there's 2 players there in the zone as Kowalski by his man, and then he takes the shot and just tosses it right into that upper corner. He's so composed on the goal there.
It looked like that long pole was playing that side, and he left his outside open, and what you'd expect to happen is that the outside wing player collapsed down on him, and you could almost see his head look twice as where's my help, and that second look that freed up the offensive player's hands, and he got a good goal.
Well, and that's why the defense, you got to keep your head on a swivel.
Yeah.
And Kowalski able to take advantage of getting by his man, and it's you get the pole out there in front, trying to force him to go right, and he still gets past him left. Just a testament to his athleticism and his ability as a player, as he's up to 3 goals on the day.
Yeah, he's going to his strong hand. That's what got him here, and he's going to stay with it. As you see another win, face-off win for UCSD. Now, can they capitalize here?
The ice pick.
That was kind of a junior ice pick, more like a toothpick.
Yeah. Well played.
Really, that's one of those checks is why make it? Just run hip to hip with them.
Yeah, if you've got a pole, maybe throw the kayak.
Yeah.
But, if you're having to reach all the way across your body, he swims you, he's by.
Yeah.
There's the amount of times that check lands and works is not worth the amount of times that it totally misses.
Correct.
And 12 minutes to play in this third quarter. Looks like San Diego taking an extra half beat on their passes, trying to really make sure that they're making good decisions. Hirsch gets it from Tran as they're moving the ball around. Zhang now with it. But that rotation coming through, both players coming from up top. There's the shot, and looks like that one may have hit one of the defensive players, and no problem for Lorino.
And it almost looked like he was trying to make a shot/pass to his player cutting underneath him. As you see, a good backside look here on the clear, come to 12.
And once they get it across, Simon's got to get back in the goal immediately. And it seems like he still wants to hang out there on defense. And that's one of those things Coach Mann's going to have to talk to Simon about as he gets again caught out, and then Willis just buries that one top shelf for his third of the day. And we've seen all 8 goals on the day come from 3 players. As it's Michael Willis with 3, Alex Kowalski with 3, Evan Purpura with 2.
And it looked like UCSD just they settled in, and then on-ball defense kind of dropped off for some reason.
Well, that one went right over the shoulder of the defenseman. It was in the back of the cage before Simon even saw it.
Before he even had a chance to react, correct. Yeah.
Well, and that's one of those things that if you're coming out of that 10-man ride, you got to come out of it faster. And so that way you have time to set up. It looked like he never really got his feet under him once he was back into the cage.
And when you say come out of it faster, that includes the on-ball defender must tie up the hands. You can't come out of it, as we see a loose ball push here on Fullerton. You can't come out of that 10-man ride and leave the ball uncontested. You've got to give your goalie time to settle up and find out where the ball is, and then the rest of your defenders to pick up as well.
And then really windy now, as you see the trainer tent being blown over. Margot losing her umbrella on that side. We've lost both of our umbrellas over here, but really picking up.
Well, one thing we know about Margot, she's gonna get hers when her shade. But yeah, we're not complaining, folks. 90 degrees, it's springtime, it's March, it's lacrosse season.
There's a quick double by Fullerton.
I got to watch my friend that's actually an alum of the SLC, or WCLL/SLC, Coach Dylan Sheridan, who's our lead defensive coach at Princeton University, to give you an idea of how far MCLA talent goes. He's been, this is his first year with Princeton. He's been at Denver with Coach Tierney for 4 or 5 seasons, and did some great work before that with different programs throughout the Eastern Seaboard. So congratulations, Coach. I got to watch a little of their game before I headed out here, as Princeton was playing at Penn today.
Yeah, and he's a player that I actually had the opportunity to play against when I was in college, and he's a really great player. And there's Chris Cole with the bounce shot, as he was able to just put that one away. And Fullerton's starting to extend the gap a little bit here.
Yeah, this is gut check time for UCSD. No question about it.
And for 25 minutes, they held them to 3 goals, and now they give up 2 quick ones here at the beginning of this third quarter. And Fullerton, doing what they've been doing all season, going out and getting this offense cooking.
Yeah, and Coach Ansel, this is exactly what you want to do when you come out of a halftime. It's kind of the principle of leave no doubt in your players' minds, and leave no doubt in your opponent's minds that you're going to dominate the second half.
And it looks like they're not even, Simpson didn't even look like he went for the clamp there, as he's just gonna pull out and try and get the ground ball. Ball's still down. Looks like Fullerton's got a line on it now. And that one almost looked like it was too tall for Lorino, but he's able to haul it in and send it right back up the field. And another unforced error as De Leon picks it up for him to take it across himself. There's a nice quick pass. De Leon drops back onto the defensive side of the field. They're now shorthanded on offense.
No. That's an inadvertent whistle. It'll stay white. The near side referee here thought he had offsides on UCSD, but the players were kind of stacked, and I was right behind him, and you couldn't almost tell that there was 2 people there instead of 1.
Yeah, you see them as you're seeing the far player too, the far pole coming off the field, and just before the offensive player came on, and that was a little bit of a tough look, but making the right call there as the ball stays with San Diego, and they've got to get a goal here. Nice look inside, draws the double, takes the shot, can't get it on the frame. And that's again the final execution pieces for San Diego that they've been missing.
And going back to what you said, Chris, it's always good to people take referees for granted. I've ref for years, and you got to understand when you make a mistake like that in the game, you correct it and you move on real quick. And they did a good job of keeping the game going and not affecting the flow of things.
Yeah, I do not envy them. It's something I'm never going to sign up to do. But definitely a necessary portion of every lacrosse game that happens anywhere. Mastro by his man. Again, he's done a really good job of drawing the double and dumping, but hasn't gotten much help in terms of goal scoring. And it looks like Fullerton's dropped into his zone now.
I'm going to use an analogy that we'll laugh at and I also hate, but we'll go baseball analogy here. I had the pleasure of talking to one of the officials' parents during halftime, and I actually coached his older brother, so it's never too many far. Oh,
that was a great shot.
coming off hard. Get a kick over here with a great play by the defense.
To be able to keep that one on. And Kowalski again with the ground ball. He has just been a machine on ground balls, coming up with tricky ground balls. He sends that one inside. Willis with the BTB, but Simon all over that one as he had that front near post all locked up.
I don't think he had much on that shot as well. I think he was just going for pure luck there.
I mean, see, it's the correct shot. He improved his angle, but certainly not the kind of zip that we've seen on the other shots he's taken.
If you practice that and you shoot that 50 times a day, just like you shoot your right and your left, your overhand, your underhand, and everything else, that might go in. That was, as you said, it's the correct angle. He didn't have much of a chance going overhand. He just didn't have anything on it. So.
But I mean, we've seen Fullerton go in and score some goals where they don't have like the full force of their shot on it. They get in tight and just pass it to the corner.
Yeah.
You know, which is really great lacrosse. I mean, you don't need to shoot it as hard as you can every time if you got the angle.
If you're going that one extra pass, and it seems like Fullerton is well coached in trusting its teammates and making that extra pass because you think your shot is good and your teammate's shot's better, and that's a great sign of a strong team. It seems like they don't care who gets the goals as long as they get them.
Well, yeah, and that's what you think. I mean, obviously you got one guy in Michael Willis who's got a ton of points. He's over 60 now on the season, but you've got 5 guys in the top 30. A lot of times you see, a team that's scoring a lot of goals, they have one guy that's got, 60 points.
Right.
And then the scoring drop off for the rest of the guys is really drastic. And on this one, you've got 4 guys coming into today who have more than 30 points on the season. Right. I mean, that's really impressive.
And I did not know that, and that is hugely impressive because that bodes well for coming down late in the season when you're getting into league play here. And so we see an open netter attempted there on the 10-man ride, and the goalie runs it down.
They have to adjust the 10-man ride, or Fullerton's just gonna start scoring some open net goals.
I guess the analogy, Chris, is until they get one, you stay in it.
See De Leon bring it across.
I think that's the horse they're riding on this one.
But and the other thing you look at these stat lines is there aren't any real, big discrepancies. I mean, it's you get Chris Cole who's got had 20 and 20, and Michael Willis coming in today had 33 and 26. And, Kowalski, of the players who have scored a bunch of points this season, had the most exaggerated, discrepancy, I guess, at 28 and 15 with 13. But all these players are not just scorers, they're also feeders. And that's what makes them so dangerous.
Yeah, very balanced, as you said, and that is key. I think any coach would love to have 4 or 5 guys, double figures in assists and goals halfway through the season. We'll call it strong encouragement from the UCSD coaching staff here with its offense. As you see a shot go wide there, backed up by UCSD. Looks like we're going to have a conduct foul. And that's what we have. We have a conduct foul on Fullerton. He turned squarely to the ref on that run out there and said something that we all know you don't talk to the refs during the game, especially when you're ahead.
Yeah.
And there you go. He's sit for 30.
And that's, head official Duggan doesn't like to be talked to. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. It's like you don't like to see, your players. You get a player like Simpson who's played, every game so far this season. Just a freshman, but he's having a lot of success, and that's when the seniors have to come up and talk to him about getting his mind right. That's the sort of penalty. Maybe not in this game today. But later on in the season, you get into the playoffs, you get into the tournament where, a 30-second penalty against a better team can cost you the game.
Yeah, you're exactly right. You're potentially giving up a goal to a team that might have a man up at 60% later in the season.
Oh, man, what a shot. And almost a fantastic save by Lorino, and that's the second one we've seen come off his stick and go in. A really, really unlucky play. And but that's the kind of offense that San Diego needs to build on.
Yeah, and that's right there. To go back to your point, Coach Ansel can use that in practice on Monday, and talk to that young man. You cost us a goal. Imagine if it was a 1-goal game, and now you just let them tie it up, or they went ahead, or whatever the situation is. And I know for personal experience, I was not happy with a conduct foul. Let's just say it that way. 'Cause it's one of those things where it's just self-imposed.
Yeah. And we're right down at the 4:19 mark of this third quarter. And that was something, I was at Chapman. We had to run post-game, not even at practice. I mean, we'd run laps after the game, given that situation, because that's something that is so correctable from a coaching standpoint that they really want to.
Right.
Surprised not to get a hold there going against Simpson. And that one batted down as Hilaire not giving up on the play.
Great hustle here.
He's in there, and he's really been a bright spot for this San Diego team all over the field. He's winning ground balls. He's winning face-offs. He's looked really sharp today. So that's definitely something that you can look for. Now calling for the ball.
Yeah, he's calling for it up top. I think he had something planned there. But go back to what you said. Yeah, he's a guy that's not going to show up in your stat book too much beyond his face-offs. But in watching the game, we've seen him hustle and run down some ground balls and keep it loose in certain situations. As Fullerton comes up with a steal here, a potential fast break.
Simpson, nice look to Cole. Cole gets it, buries it, and that is just perfect. He looks off the defenseman, finds the pass cross crease. Cole makes no doubt about it with that one as he scores his second of the game and pushes their goal total up into double digits. But that's textbook fast break.
Looks like we have a dead ball. Yeah, we do. We have a dead ball conduct foul on UCSD. So it's this possession change, so there's no face-off, and Fullerton will start possession. The goal counts, and it was after that goal when the ball was dead that looks like our far side official here called a conduct foul on UCSD on the bench, and Fullerton starts with it.
And that's the last thing you need. If you're San Diego, it's like you give up a fast break goal after you scored a pretty good one, and then give away what's been your most successful portion of the game in the face-off right away.
We just mentioned that young face-off man, how he hustles and has been winning the move and getting 50% of the ground balls, and now you don't give him a chance.
I think Fullerton taking a little bit of the air out of the ball here. And coming into today, and we were talking about the face-off player, Hilaire, winning 80% of his face-offs, which is a really impressive number. And he's won at least that much today, so maybe improving on that. He's got a bright future ahead of him. Now Cole coming from X. Kowalski still going to that big left hand. Takes the shot and buries it again. He just passes it into the corner. And that's his fourth of the day as the lead is extended once again to 7 goals, 11-4.
Yeah, and there you go. And let's hope we get this face-off as a face-off this time and not a dead ball foul as the wind picks up again.
And we close in on the end of this third quarter of action, and it has been all Fullerton leading this quarter 5-1. And Coach Ansel coaching them up at halftime, as Fullerton was able to come out running on all cylinders.
Yeah, we got a timeout here.
Looks like Coach Mann wants to regroup and see what he can get out of his boys. It's like Margot is going to have some more information for us. She's been walking the sidelines, trying to get all the information we need out of these two teams.
All right, guys, in that quarter, one of the main stories was conduct fouls. They kept being called, and I could hear Coach Ansel say that he remembered when he used to play, he had one of these referees, the head referee that's here today. He's one of the directors of lacrosse refereeing, and he does not take any crap from anyone. It doesn't even matter if it's cussing. Just one word back to the ref, and he will get a conduct foul. So the players have got to be very careful because it could put their teams in very unfortunate and costly situations for the remainder of this game.
Thanks, Margot, and that's something we touched on when we were talking about. It's you get a guy who is the head of officiating for an area, and he wants to make sure that the rules are being applied in the exact way that they're written. And if you're talking back to the official, that's a conduct foul. And it's a great learning opportunity for both of these teams.
Yeah, exactly. Young players out there, the referees are not there for your verbal pleasure, I'll say. So, realize that when your coaches at the youth level, at high school level, and any level coming up is telling you to respect the game, that goes without saying that referee in the striped shirt should be respected as well. So if you've got a problem, bring it up to your teammates and your coach, and try to solve your issues between the lines. But should turn your direction to the referees or the other team. It's not part of the game. It doesn't need to be part of the game. It's a beautiful sport when played properly, and that's the way these coaches will probably preach to their players how to deal with this situation.
Yeah, and it's a situation where we wouldn't be able to play the games if we didn't have them. And a really unlucky clamp by Hilaire once again, as that one just goes right to Willis. I mean, he wins the clamp, pulls it behind him, maybe a little bit too much zip on that one, and it goes right into the stick of Willis, who was waiting for it in the restraining box. Kowalski with it up top. Down to the last 2 minutes of the third quarter. In a quarter that's been all Titans.
I think UCSD will be happy to get out of this quarter.
It was Mendenhall making his first appearance on offense for Fullerton. So Coach Ansel might be sending a couple of guys out, get some playing time. Simpson coming back into the game.
Again, I'd like to extend a thanks to TVX Video, our crack sideline reporter Margot McCauley, and our lead SLC commentator again for the coming up in the fourth year, Chris Marshall.
Yeah, it's been a really fun ride. You see Chan trying to take advantage of the quick whistle, takes the shot. And, that's a good shot. I like that shot. Got to get something going. It's a possession shot, so they're able to maintain. They can go into their offense. But, needing to get something going in this quarter as we're down to a minute. Thinks about taking that shot as Master had a man inside. Opts to take the shot finally, but, again, not able to get that one on the frame.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that shot off the quick whistle restart there. It's a good look.
Well, and you had Patrick Zhang cutting through in the middle, and it looked like he was open, but he was going to have to zip one by his defenseman. And the bamboo forest for Fullerton has been tall today. And there's another great save by Loreno.
Backside. Oh.
And Tran has not been able to get the ball out of his stick fast enough on offense to get these guys an opportunity. And all the way up top to Zhang. Zhang takes the shot, and Loreno saw that one the whole way as he throws the ball up the field as we come to the end of the third quarter. And Chris Cole nearly scores that one as it goes by everybody.
That's another one of those mental lapses. We saw it with that backup earlier, and I didn't hear the whistle. We've got our headsets on, the wind's blowing, but I say play it out until you hear two whistles.
Yeah, exactly. Because that one, it's sure the whistle's probably a second behind the horn that's coming off the thing, but nobody can hear that. And so they're calling it out, and I've seen goals that were later count.
Well, one of the subtle rule changes this year was the ball left the stick, kind of like basketball in the shooter.
Yeah.
So that's a perfect situation. That ball could have left the stick. The horn goes. That's a goal that counts. So talk about deflating.
Yeah, absolutely. You're already down 7, and then you come into a situation like that where you give up a really cheap one, just because you're not putting out the same kind of effort that Fullerton is, and that's one of the ones that really breaks your heart if you're a coach. It looks like we're going to send it back out to Margot again, who is listening in on the Fullerton huddle.
All right, guys, right there in the break, listening in on the Fullerton side. Coach Ansel very proud of his team so far. They're leading, they're dominating, they're getting a lot of good looks, but he still wants more from his offense. He's trying to let his team know that when the other team calls a certain play, how they can react quickly and be ready to go into their formation that will give them the best chance moving forward through the rest of this game. I also have to give a quick shout out to these two guys right behind me at the score table, Aiden and Clay Kaufman. They're both out for the season with UC CSD, but they're keeping score and keeping all the stats for the game, and they want to give a quick shout out to their families, and I got to give a shout out to them, a thank you for helping me and keeping me on top of everything throughout this game.
Thanks, Margot.
As always, Margot.
Making friends on the sideline.
Making friends and keeps it interactive, and you know, we joke about it, but it's a nice element to have in these broadcasts, getting reports from the side, getting an inside look at what's going on with the teams, and hopefully everybody appreciates her effort that she's doing to really embrace this game.
Yeah, and it's nice, getting a little inside information. I mean, we can all, sit here on the sideline and watch what happens and tell you what we would have done. But when you're hearing it, coming from the coach's mouth and the strategy that comes into every play, and the way they're switching offenses and defenses, you really get a window into these programs, and it's fun to watch and fun to listen to.
Right.
Just about underway in this fourth quarter of action. Fullerton with a big lead. Both these teams undefeated coming in today. Hilaire again with another clamp, pulls this one behind, takes a little bit off it this time. So the attack unable to get it as De Leon gets it, and he moves the ball up and then knocked out of the stick, but then still up in the air. But that was Zamet who couldn't quite get it done as Simpson gets it back the other way, as both these teams starting to take some of the players off the bench. And there's a nice handle, but loses it as it's now going back the other direction. Both these teams having a little bit of trouble with their sticks. One of the things, you get this really hot wind out on the field. There's a lot of dirt, it looks like, in the middle of this field. Will dry your stick out and make it hard to get those ground balls.
I think that, and we're warming up some fresh bodies, as you just said. So it's good to see both teams going to their benches, getting some experience.
Yeah, this game, 7-goal game. I mean, not totally out of reach for San Diego. No. I mean, still a lot of time left on the clock. Simpson, by his man, takes the shot and sends that one right to the side of the cage. That's a very tough save for Simon to make, and that pushes the lead back up 1 more goal to 8.
It's a good face dodge. Came back to a strong hand.
And it's like I said. I mean, it looks like. It lost a little bit of focus on the San Diego side. Looks like they're starting to hang their heads down a little bit and get behind in this game. But the San Diego team, a team that was, like I said, undefeated, 5-0 coming into this game, and had some pretty favorable results. I mean, they beat Irvine 16-4, which is not that far off. I mean, obviously it's not 27-1, but it's a pretty sizable victory that they're able to come out there and get. And I think short of a couple of mental lapses and some unforced errors, I mean, this is a game that we'll might see later on in the conference tournament that could be a much closer game.
Yeah, I agree, Chris, and I'd love to see UCSD just go all out here. There's really nothing to lose. It looks like you've got a good rotation of players, and just really, as any coach would want to see his team just put out the effort the entire 60 minutes.
Now San Diego slowing it down a little bit. I think that they're spending a lot of time on defense too. Stor thinks about it. Take it by his man. Those short passes are really tough.
I don't know how they're handling them, quite honestly, because that was my most undesirable pass to receive, was something that was 2 or 3 yards away from me. Unless it's right on your stick, it's really hard, as you see. Hunter, oh, there you go.
Nice little backhand goal by Hirsch. And that one all comes back to the individual effort coming from David Mastro. He's able to get by his man, switch hands, get that over to Hirsch. Hirsch on the cut, gets it, buries it with the backhand shot. I mean, that's a really nice goal from San Diego. Kind of something you would have liked to have seen a little earlier in the game.
Yeah, and we saw some. That was a great draw to dump off. And this time the player caught it and converted, and we saw 3 or 4 of those in the first half that just weren't converted. So hats off to UCSD in answering our call for a goal.
And mixing up the face-off X here, looks like Mendenhall is going to take a face-off. Only had 3 coming into the game. See if they can do something a little different to have some success against Hilaire, who's been just dominating. I mean, the only face-offs that San Diego has lost have been where they couldn't get the ground ball.
Where they couldn't get the ground ball, correct.
I mean, it looks like he's won just about every clamp.
I'm going to say my hard hat award goes to number 29 from UCSD.
Yeah,
And,
he deserves it. It's Hilaire.
something new we're doing. We're starting today here with Margot's Player of the Game picks. Is she's going to be giving out a nice SLC T-shirt. So she may pick one. Chris might pick one. I might pick one, or there might just be, 3 players, 1 player. We don't know yet. But when we do our live broadcast, we'll seek the help of the audience. And these tape-delayed broadcasts, we'll leave it up to the announcers and those that are here to pick a player of the game. They get a nice SLC T-shirt.
It's another possession shot for San Diego. I mean, it looks like they've really kind of picked up the pace here a little bit in this fourth quarter. I mean, still down 8 goals. 7 goals. There we go. Sorry, my math is escaping
Chapman
me.
is not known for its math department. Sorry, Mr. Pelly.
just Dodd College. And again, it's a nice effort play by San Diego to keep that one in bounds, and they come up with the ground ball, and they've got a little bit of an unsettled situation. So they try and go in again. 12-5, 7-goal lead. Still plenty of time left on the clock, about 10 minutes to play for San Diego. If they get a good run going, especially given their success at the faceoff X, another possession shot to get something going offensively, at least cut the lead down. It'll make this more interesting, and they've got to keep it closer if they want to maintain their position in the poll. Back up to Mailer. We've seen him kind of take the reins of the offense, gets it to Tran, and Tran gets it. Nice backhand pass to Mailer. Mailer's by himself. Had the opportunity to take advantage of that one, but didn't get his feet moving. No. Again, just the passes aren't quite as crisp as you'd like to see if you're Coach Mann.
You'd almost like to see on Monday at practice that you get your offense out in their circle or 1-3-2 and just comfortably throw the ball as hard as you can to your teammate. You see a lot of air under these passes. Right now they're just subbing, getting set up, but when they're playing, even though they're putting a little too much air under the ball.
Nice
It's a
side
great
step by
split
Miyake,
dodge.
and that one hits the defenseman right.
That is going to leave a mark.
Right in the thigh, but a ground ball win for San Diego. And then they're trying to get the push in the back, and way to stand up is Mastros. He's able to walk the tightrope, and that one right on the stick of Mailer, who's unable to finish it. But we're gonna get
we got a flag down
down
here on this backside, and I took my eye off it for a second and missed the action.
Looks like the ball managed to keep that one in, so they get a free possession here. Potentially, depending on the call, we're able to have a man-up opportunity in addition to that, and that one's
Still live.
Still live.
Defense has to gain possession. Those of you that haven't watched in the last year or so, the defense must gain possession or the ball will be out of bounds when there is a flag down situation.
Or back onto the defensive side of the field.
Or on the defense, yes. Third requirement.
And decent effort. Looked like San Diego guys are tired. A long offensive possession. It's going to be a legal body check.
Yes, I concur, Chris. And we'll go into a timeout for Fullerton here.
So we want to get these guys, get their minds right. Been a little bit of sloppy play out of Fullerton so far in this fourth quarter. And we've seen anytime Fullerton looks like they're not playing their game, Coach Ansel calls a timeout, slows it down, gets them back into the way he wants them to play.
Right. And you mentioned it, both teams were gassed on that series right there.
It looks like we're going to send it back out to Margot, I believe, was listening into the San Diego huddle.
Thanks, Chris. Okay, guys, we can't get your tweets about the player of the game, but we're going to pick one anyway from the stat sheet and from what we've seen here today. We're going to give them an SLC shirt, so make sure you stay posted for after the game. We're going to catch them for an interview, maybe one, maybe two guys, but make sure to keep it locked in for the rest of the game. We've got some good action right here, and things are still pretty intense on this sideline. You've got a lot of stuff coming in from this coach. They're not giving up on this side. They're going to keep fighting and try to finish off this game with a couple more points on the board.
There you go, Chris. Just what we were asking for is a little more fight at UCSD and that they finish up strong. So that looks like the marching orders they got from their coaching staff, and I'm looking forward to seeing this last few minutes play out.
Well, and that's it goes into, even if you're going to lose this game, you want to keep it as close as possible because this is a Fullerton team that, has a real, opportunity to run the table.
Right.
They've got tough games towards the end of the season against Concordia and San Marcos, but they've got a lot of teams, Sierra Nevada, Western Oregon, Southern Oregon, Western Washington, who may not have at least the pedigree of some of these other teams that we've seen, some of the top Division II teams. And so, they have a real opportunity to be undefeated going into that Concordia game at the beginning of April.
Yeah, and those out-of-conference games are the ones we talked about. Even if the team is not to your skill level, you've got to play hard and well against them, and show the National Pollster Committee that it's not a fluke, and you don't want to win those games by 1 or 2 goals. And by no means am I encouraging them to run up the score on anyone, but you've got to come out when you're faced against an opponent that clearly on paper you need to dominate. Then you need to do it in action as well.
Well, and that's the other thing too. It's you're going to have 3 games in 4 days, and you got a team where you've only got six field players on the sideline and 1 goalie. You're going to need to budget your energy too. Because you come into that last game with Western Washington, and you played 2 games in 3 days, and you're playing a back-to-back game. You got to make sure that you bring your A game and that your stick is sharp, so you don't get run off the field.
Right. It's a good possession. It's a much better possession than we've seen. The ball is moving crisper, and you got a good shot. And we're under the 9-minute mark here in the 4th, so it's almost like we're in the UCSD huddle, and we're helping out Coach Mann.
Well, it's that nice skip pass you see to Mastro, and then Mastro throws that one away, and looks like that one's just gonna make it out.
That's what I like to call the no-look, because he didn't look, and no one wants to look, and that ball went right out of bounds. So turnover to Fullerton here.
And stuff like that's gotta bug you as a coach.
Oh, sure. You don't want to stifle creativity, but when you're in a game like this, you'd rather see your players revert back to fundamentals, because that clearly will keep you in any game if you stick to your fundamentals.
And
good ground ball.
Finally picked up by Hunter Hirsch.
Yeah. Good ground ball and a good example of running away, or running to green, as we say, or just run away from the traffic and settle yourself down.
Yeah, get away from some of that pressure. That's one thing we've seen, especially on the defensive side of the ball. You get Fullerton with 2 poles, and they'll let you know they're there.
Sure will.
Now Zhang from up top. Nice look inside to Tran. He got sort of surprised. I think he was sort of surprised he caught that.
I think we were getting the words out before he's got to shoot that ball.
De Leon, he's been doing a really good job. You get one of those, opportunities where you can't quite do it all yourself, and he's been very good for San Diego.
Yeah. He really has great field presence too. When he picks up that ground ball, there's no doubt that's an offsides on Fullerton here coming up. Even if you fall over that line and your feet are back but your hands are over and touch the ground, it's an offside.
It's going to be an offsides on Fullerton. Fortunate play as Zhang went for the one-handed ground ball there and was unable to come up with it, and it nearly cost his team a possession. Now Zhang with it again. And you hear them with the yellow call. Roll that one up top for Mailer. Back to Mastro. Back to Mailer, two-man game. Takes the shot, and there's a great kick save off the pipe. And the Mailer almost able to come up with it. And now going back the other direction for Fullerton, and this is dangerous opportunity for Fullerton as Chris Cole comes up and gets it. Sorry, that's Willis.
This is when you want to see UCSD just get back to that whole area and not give up something like that.
Yeah, and Willis takes a shot, but that one over the cage. But possession shot is Fullerton's going to maintain possession. Willis up top to Kowalski. Kowalski with 4 goals on the day.
It's never too early to plug the SLC Conference Tournament. That'll be May 2nd through 4th at La Costa Canyon High School in North County, San Diego. Great event, 3 days of lacrosse action, 2 games a day. Division I semifinals on Friday, the Division II semifinals on Saturday, and then both divisional finals on Sunday back-to-back. So that's coming up at La Costa Canyon High School, and the SLC appreciates La Costa Canyon's lacrosse program and their booster program for hosting us there once again. And we're really looking forward to putting on a good show there as we lead into the national tournament or national championships that will be played in Orange County again at UC Irvine and Chapman.
Yeah, I mean, and the SLC South is absolutely loaded this season. I mean, you've got, a team, in Arizona who has gone out and they beat Chapman, and they've had some pretty favorable results this season. Beat Michigan State, I believe, as well. And then you get UNLV, who's been having a really favorable start to their season. And then you've got, obviously, Grand Canyon and Arizona State. Arizona State, the number 2 team in the country, lost a really close game to Colorado and then went out and beat Colorado State. And, it's one of those teams is not going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate thing. We take 3 and 3 in each division. In Division I and Division II, 6 teams make the playoffs respectively, and in each of those divisions, there's subdivisions, this North and South in each one, and they'll take the top 3 with the 2 1 seeds getting a bye. So, every conference game at the SLC level is very important.
Yeah. And, I mean, it's been, what I guess you could call, a bit of an off year, sort of an anomaly for the North. But I mean, there's still some strong teams.
Well, as you see the goalie bring it up here, let's see if he can get a shot off. But he's probably looking for a timeout right now from coach.
And that's a goalie change. Is Lestat coming in for UCSD or UCSD?
Yeah. And to go back to your point, as the conference president, I look at it like it's a great thing to see. And by no means am I putting down any of our perennial leaders in any of our divisions, but in Division I, in our North group, we've got Santa Barbara in a somewhat of a rebuild situation. You've got UCLA playing real strong ball. You mentioned UNLV that's got a 16 or 18 game schedule. It's crazy how much they're playing. LMU, USC, they're all playing much better. And it's a real competitive division.
Yeah, and then you got Hirsch coming around the corner as we get to the 3-minute mark and scoring a goal. That's 2 in a row for him. He's looked strong in this fourth quarter. And I mean, it looks you see why Fullerton wants to run the score up, because they defensively look tired.
Yeah, they're just trying to put it out of reach now, and it's what you say, under 4 minutes, and it's safe to say. Not to put anybody down, but it is out of reach.
It's going to be a tall order
to
score 7 or 8 goals in the next 2 minutes 49 seconds. For anyone.
I don't want you setting me up for putting one of my teams down,
but again, it's
a good game.
It's a good game.
It's a hard-fought game.
It's one of those things. It's the score isn't necessarily a fair representation of how this game has gone.
Right.
San Diego has been dominating at the face-off X. They've had quite a few opportunities in on the crease and just haven't been able to capitalize on them.
Right.
For whatever reason, their sticks just aren't as sharp today as I think that Coach Mann would like them to be. And when it comes out, it looks like Fullerton's getting a little bit more effort out of their guys and are certainly a little sharper offensively with their sticks. And that's what's coming out in the score sheet.
Right. and I know UCSD, the coaches well here, and I know they would never make an excuse as to missing a few players to the final exams, as we mentioned earlier. But it gives you it's good steam for practice. Again, you put this kind of effort out. You're a little shorthanded. Some of your starters aren't here taking care of their academic requirements. And I think this bodes well for UCSD because this is still early in league play. You see a great save there.
Yeah, and that's Lestat coming in cold, making a save there as he came in, in this fourth quarter.
We're at the 2-minute mark. We're just under 2 here as we restart. But to go back to that point, you see some great action out here, and we've talked about how they've missed a few scoring passes and such, and you get those key players back that you're missing due to finals, and you're back on track, and you've got some confidence from your younger guys.
I know this is an instance that we, ran into a couple of seasons ago in the playoffs when Arizona, their starting goalie was actually a graduate student and was in a position where he had to take a final that couldn't be moved.
Right.
And there's a nice look inside, big save by Lestat again, and that was risky. Risky.
Questionable shot at your goalie. It was supposed to be a flip to him and possibly just put the ball on the ground and let him pick it up there.
Yeah, and that one going back the other direction.
Again, another learning experience. A lot of teaching moments here for everyone.
But again, I mean, that's some of the things that you run into. I mean, they're student athletes, not athlete students, and so it's the schoolwork comes first. And unfortunately, especially in that instance as a graduate student, it's important that you be there and you pass your classes. And we've seen that come in a few times as we get down to the last minute. Kowalski with it up top. Just get a flag down here as well.
Yeah, you're going to have a slash on the short stick midi over here, 15 white. But
wow, what a save by Lestat again. And
yeah,
the freshman making a bid for that starting job.
Freshman, that's off to him, coming in cold. Is this third save, Chris? Or
yeah, third save in a row.
Yeah.
And he's a player that's played in all 5 games, just 3 goals against. He's got a 75% save average, and you can see why. I mean, he's come in for some of the garbage time in these games, and but he's definitely making his presence felt. Obviously going to be out there pushing Simon at practice and making sure that they're doing what they need to be doing.
Right, and we've got the player of the game. We've got the post-game interview coming up, post-game show, I'll say, with Margaret McCauley. We'll check in with Coach Ansel. Chris and Margot will be picking their players of the game as well as we tally up their votes. My vote's a lock. I'm keeping it quiet.
Yeah.
And I'm getting a size medium shirt out. These players of the game will get a nice gift from Margot, a nice SLC T-shirt, so we'll have some fun with them. And that's coming up immediately following the game here in about 20 seconds.
And trying to get one last opportunity here as Simpson runs that down as we're nearly the end of this quarter. Fullerton, still playing their offense.
That's going to be the ball game.
And it's a really great game. I'm excited to see both these teams play. Unfortunately, San Diego doubled up at 12 to 6. And but it, like I said earlier, I mean, it wasn't necessarily, a fair representation of how the game was played. And
right.
Both these teams, solid teams in the SLC Division II at the level, but really impressive work.
Yeah, we don't want to sound too cliche, but it is something you had to be here to see. I thought it was a well-fought game. I didn't know the score until I joined you. And I thought I was watching a closer game than what the scoreboard dictated. So hats off to both squads. Stay with us as we'll come back to Margot here in just a few minutes with Coach Ansel and some key players. But it's a good job.
Yeah, we'll just stay tuned. We'll be right back with Margot with the players. And we're back with Margot McCauley over with head coach Ansel.
SLC win today. How did you feel about your team's overall performance?
A win's a win. We did a couple things right. Definitely have a lot of work to do. But at UCSD, like I said, it's always a difficult task coming down here to beat them. So I'm glad to come out here with a win.
Now I've got two offensive guys over here, so I got to give the defense some love. Who on that side of the ball were you most impressed with today?
A couple guys, Masaki Matsumoto, our transfer from Japan, did really well. Our goalie, Chris Loreno, and Brian Sutherland all kind of, stepped up. It was just a collective effort today. Everyone did pretty well.
All right, thanks, Coach.
No
Good luck
worries.
the rest
Thank
of the
you.
season. All right, guys, now moving over here, I got Alex Kowalski, right? All right, you can step to me. I'm not going to do anything. He had 4 goals today, right?
Yeah.
Who hooked you up with the best assist?
Micah Willis, my
Oh,
teammate.
nice.
Yeah.
You guys are halfway through your season. How do you feel about where your team's at?
We're good. We're 8-0 right now, feeling really good. Got to keep going through the season.
Anybody, mom, dad, parents, friends you want to give a shout out to watching?
Shout out to my teammate Masaki. It's his 21st birthday.
Nice. All right, thank you. And now we've got the freshman over here, right? You're just a freshman?
yeah.
Okay, Micah Willis. Everyone on Twitter is telling us to look out for him, keep an eye on him. He's apparently a big deal. You came into this game leading goals, assists, points per game in the whole SLC Division II, so you're our player of the month.
Sweet.
How have you been able to be so successful so far this season?
Most of my successes came through my teammates, honestly. A lot of my goals are unassisted, are assisted from my teammates, and all my teammates finish the looks that I give to them. So it's pretty much my teammates supporting me and me supporting my teammates.
Anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, shout out to Masaki also, 21st birthday from Japan, big day for him.
All right, very original from the freshmen. You guys get shirts here from the SLC, and that's all we got. So back to you guys. Back to you, Chris. Sorry, guys.
Thank you, Margot. Always exciting to have you there on the sideline with the players of the game. Both those guys, saying the right things. I mean, it's team first, and I mean that seems like what Coach Ansel is preaching as well. He doesn't call out any of the guys who are scoring. It's the guys that don't get the recognition on the score sheet that he's most proud of, and I think that's really what you want.
Yeah, it's doing the dirty work and doing the stuff that doesn't show up in the goal or assist column. That's going to get you through as an entire team and being unselfish. And let's just give a happy birthday to that young man. He looks like an exchange student from Japan, which is great to see in the SLC, which kind of leads into some news we'll have later in this season about a good exchange going on next year for 2016 with some Japanese teams in the SLC. So.
Well, I know that's exciting. I mean, a number of the teams in the SLC especially have had Japanese exchange students. I know, Chapman. As well as UC Santa Barbara. UC Santa Barbara also with a player who's a graduate student from England. So a lot of international players coming through. But definitely exciting game today. I'm excited to be here with you, Matt, as well as Margot and the TVX crew. And a special thanks to TVX for being out here and putting this broadcast on, as well as all of you watching at home. We wouldn't be able to do this without you. And and Margot especially as well. And TVX always out here. Alex. Running the camera for TVX, and it's going to be an exciting season with a lot of really good games. The SLC is really up this season, so I can't wait to bring the rest of the season to you. And as always, stay laxy.